After the game Sunday, X talked about how having Rob back made him more comfortable with being aggressive on defense. How does having that safety net of a veteran point guard make you more comfortable in terms of putting out rotations just in case X might get some foul trouble?
Well, I mean, it's huge. I mean, Rob has missed 10 games, and, we went through a stretch where we were closing games with Rob and X on the floor and winning, which was kind of nice. But I haven't been able to get back to that here of late because Rob has been out. But yeah, it frees X up a lot more because he knows now he can stay aggressive. We got away with it in the Maryland game. X picked up 2 fouls early, and we really had nowhere else to go.
Next question, Dustin.
Hey, Mike. We didn't have a chance to ask you this yet. What actually is Trey Galloway's injury? And at this point, do you have a timetable for when he might be able to be back?
Well, he's got a high groin pull, man. That's, it's kind of way up in there, man. And he just hadn't been able to do anything, really. So, I can't tell you, when the timetable is for him coming back, really. I mean, we really, hell, he's missed 13 games. And, we came into this season thinking that he was going to be a really big part, of our rotation. And when we got him back, we was excited as hell. And now he's out again.
Tom.
Mike, tomorrow night's the final home game already. And I know sometimes the seasons take a long time, or they seem like they fly by. What is it for you? I mean, how do you look back on this from November to now, and your overall impressions of your first year and how fast it's gone?
Well, it's a great question. In the NBA, you go through almost 100 games a year. I've done that for 34 years, so this is kind of a piece of cake in terms of, an 82-game season versus a 30-game season. It's, for me, it's still but just basketball, man. But, the college game, it gives you a lot more time to teach and prepare, man. And the pros is just, you don't sleep. You just constantly grind it,
Next question, Tyler Tackman.
Hey, Coach, I hope you're doing well. You mentioned a couple of times this season about how you don't want to dwell on the past, kind of what's happened in the past has happened in the past. And I was curious, where did you get that mindset from? Is there like an experience in your life where you kind of developed that way of thinking, or is there someone that taught that to you? How did you kind of figure out that philosophy of thinking?
Well, again, guys, you think about your everyday life, your own individual lives, man. I mean, things that happened in the past, you can't go back, good or bad. You can't. You learn from the mistakes that you've made in the past, and you sometimes relive the good things, but you can't go back and get it, man. I just I think ahead, man. That's just the makeup of how I've been from pretty much the time I left here and went into the NBA. And you could probably say it started here because, the crazy thing here was, Knight never let you forget the past. And I don't either when it comes to games. I mean, we always go back and we look at the game. I'm not going to never let them forget that. I mean, good or bad, we learn from watching film. And I've always thought that was a major tool, but I can't live in the past, man. I just, I've had a good run, in terms of my life, and man, I take it a day at a time. And the fact that I'm back here trying to push these guys in the right directions to do the right things, man, on and off the court. That's what it's about to me right now.
Mike Schumann.
Yeah, Coach, I wanted to ask you something specific about Xavier Johnson's game. It seemed like earlier in the year, when he was getting downhill, he was taking a lot of kind of off balance, contested shots, getting himself in trouble sometimes. And he really seems to have developed in that area where his judgment, once he gets past his man, he's either taking a good shot or he's finding the open man. Can you talk about just his progression in that specific aspect of his game?
Well, you're right on when you say that. Because, again, I mean, I watched him play at Pitt, and he played very loosely there. And I'm trying to get him to play more. And that's no knock against the Pitt coach and how his system was set up. I'm trying to get him to play non-reckless, where he's including his teammates and we're trying to make him be a complete point guard. A good point guard, man, can get his own shots and can set up everybody else around him. I mean, that's what the good point guards do. So, that's something that we've been trying to teach him, when we brought him on board. And, and he's had a roller coaster ride. I mean, early on, like you said, he got down there and he got stuck a lot of times, didn't have nowhere to go with the ball. And then he went through a phase where the game started to slow down and he started seeing things around him, as well as when it was time to make the right play for himself. And then he hit another stretch where it was the other way again. And now he's playing really good basketball for us, which is kind of nice to see.
Kevin.
Yeah, Coach, just following up on that point, you're going to be facing a Rutgers team that's, one of the best defensive teams in the league, along with yourselves. Just the importance of Xavier's decision-making. I mean, Caleb McConnell's leading the Big Ten in steals. That's the importance of that ball security aspect of him and the rest of the offense heading into a game like this.
Well, again, I mean, we pretty much have seen everything this season. I go all the way back to that St. John's game, and they made us have to play, man. I mean, we really prepared for them because of the fact that they press and they do a lot of junk things that make you have to think about what you're doing on the floor, man. And it was a hell of a game. And, this team is no different. They press some. I watched them against Wisconsin and Purdue. They pressed a little bit, but they're a good defensive team. They play hard. And so, we're going to have to match their effort for 40 minutes, man, in order to come out of here with a win.
Zach.
Mike, it's your first senior day as a coach, and it's obviously complicated by the fact that even guys who are technically seniors can come back if they want because of this COVID year. Who do you expect to go through kind of senior night stuff after the game Wednesday? And how do you what are the conversations like with guys who may be debating, do I want to kind of call time on my IU career here, or do I want to consider taking that COVID year?
I haven't really had any discussions with them about it, to be honest with you. I think there'll be a few players that, that take the senior walk. And hey, I'm all for whatever they want to do. But at the end of the day, we got to make decisions as a staff with our program once, the season's over with. And I'm sure there are going to be players that, with this portal thing, you have no control. These guys can tell you one thing and do another. It's just a part of it. Hell, I lost 3 players coming into this season, in the portal, which, 2 gave me an opportunity to court them and try to get them to stay on, and 1 left before I actually got the job. He'd already had his decision made. So it's chaotic right now, in terms of how this thing is going to play out. And all I can do is, wait until the season's over with and just see where we are as a ball club. And, if there's guys that's going to take that walk tonight and as a senior or tomorrow as a senior, then all I can do is wish them well and tell them that, hey, if there's anything I can do, I'm obligated as their coach to help them. may it be pursuing their basketball career or going into the job market, I'm obligated to help them do that. And I will, whatever, that anybody decides to do if they want to leave. So, but I can't really give you a definitive answer because, again, man, it's just, basketball right now is so different in regards to this portal and people being able to come back or leave. And so at this stage, I'm searching just like you guys are probably wanting answers. So that's where I am.
Jim Coyle.
Hi, Mike. The offense has played a lot better here of late, it seems, with getting more contributions from many different people, whether it's Miller Kopp, Parker Stewart, Tamar, Jordan, and played hard through the end of games. But even at the Minnesota game, we still saw a end of game. I don't want to call that one a collapse, but it seemed like even though Minnesota was hitting some crazy shots, the offense still stagnates at times like that. What can they do differently to fight through that offensively and not let what they're doing affect you?
Well, again, I think a lot of it is mental. I mean, when things get tight, guys stop executing and moving. I mean, if you can build a 27-point lead, moving the ball and cutting and playing freely, then you should close it that way. And, we've just, when things get a little tight, and a lot of it is because this team has never won, man, and guys are still searching and trying to figure it out. And I get it. And I'm going to keep saying it. I got to help them get over the hump, man. I don't care what, how you guys think and feel about it. It's my job to help them in that regard, to relax and play like you got the lead. I mean, that's kind of how it's been our MO the whole season. When we've lost, we've been competitive, we've led in games, and we played freely. And then when things got a little tight, we succumb sometimes. And the beauty about the other night, even though they cut it, we still made the plays that we had to make to bring it home.
Last question, Mike Pegram.
Hey, Coach, in light of senior day and the fact that some postseason awards are coming out in a few days, can you talk about the season Race Thompson has had for you and whether you think he might be a guy worthy of some of those awards next week?
Well, I mean, listen, he's been one of the most consistent players in the Big Ten. I mean, his numbers are very, very consistent in terms of how he's played, and we've all benefited from it. I mean, I don't think anybody saw that coming into this season. But again, you gotta pat him on the butt and say, hey, job well done. Still got a lot of work still left. But the work that he's put in practice and on the floor has paid off for him, and we've benefited from it.